So this is Module 10. Question 1. Define terrorism. Terrorism is the unlawful use of force against persons or property to intimidate or coerce a government, a civilian population, or any segment thereof in the furtherance of political or social objectives. Question 2. List the 2 things all terrorists have in common. The only thing all terrorists have in common is motive and ability. An individual or group that has both motive and ability can perpetrate an act of terrorism. Question 3. Provide some examples of potential terrorist type groups. There's ethnic separatist and immigrant groups, radical organizations, racist anti-authority survivalist groups, foreign terrorist organization, issue-oriented groups including animal rights groups, extremist environmentalist group, extremist religious group, and anti-abortionists, etc. Question 4. List the types of facilities that may be targeted of terrorism incidents. Potential targets tend to be highly visible buildings, transportation and utility infrastructure, symbolic structures, legitimate military targets, building occupied by many people, or soft targets that are vulnerable to attack. Some examples can include industries that are part of the military-industrial complex, financial institutions, explosive storage facilities, sports arenas and parks, schools, hospitals, shopping centers, venues for special events, facilities that are center of controversy. Question 5. List the most common type of biological agents. The most common type of biological agents including bacteria, viruses, and toxins. Question 6. Explain the indicators of a possible biological terrorism incident. Indicators of a biological event that may include any of the following: a sudden surge of medical calls, unusual number of sick or dying people or animals, disassemblement of an unscheduled or unusual sprays, especially outdoor and or at night, abandoned spray devices with no distinct odor. Question 7. List the 2 main threats including nuclear terrorism. There are 2 fundamentally different threats of a nuclear terrorism. One is the use, threatened use, or threatened detonation of a nuclear bomb. The other is the detonation and threatened detonation of a conventional explosive incorporating of radiological materials, commonly referred to as a dirty bomb. The latter of the 2 is though to be the most likely to occur. Question 8. Define incendiary devices. Incendiary incidents involve the use of incendiary devices. An incendiary device is any mechanical, electrical, or chemical device used to intentionally to initiate combustion and start of a fire. Question 9. List the 5 classes of chemical agents. Nerve agents that affect the nervous system and disrupt nerve impulse transmissions. Blister agents that cause severe burns to eyes, skin, and tissue. Blood agents that interfere with the ability to blood to transport oxygen. Choking agents that severely stress the respiratory system. And irritating agents that cause respiratory distress and tearing and designed to incapacitate. Question 10. Explain the indicators of a possible chemical terrorism incident. Once released of a chemical agent's outward warning signs usually are easy to spot. The most significant sign will be rapid onset of similar symptoms in a large group of people. Because chemical agents are so lethal, mass casualties without other signs of trauma are common. Other outward signs include hazardous materials or lab equipment that is not relevant to occupancy, exposed individuals reporting unusual odor or taste, explosions dispersing liquid, mist, or gases, explosions seeming only to destroy a package or bomb device, unscheduled disembowelment of an unusual spray, abandoned spray devices, numerous dead animals, fish, and birds, absence of insect life in a warm climate, distinct pattern of casualties and common symptoms, civilian panic, and potential target areas. Question 11. Explain the indicators of a possible explosive terrorism incident. Signs of an explosive incident can be obvious, such as large-scale damage to a building, blown-out windows, and widely scattered debris also serve as an indicator. Victims may report effects of a blast, such as obvious shrap-induced trauma, appearance of shock-like symptoms, and/or damage of their eardrums. Question 12. Describe agroterrorism. Another serious form of terrorism that terrorists or telecommunicators need to be aware of is agroterrorism, which is targeted at crops and other agricultural resources. Terrorists may tamper with food supply and/or threaten to spread the disease among livestock, a form of terrorism. Question 13. Explain how a telecommunicator can assist with the incident's investigation. The telecommunicator assists with incident investigation by taking statements provided by witnesses or victims, and sometimes even by taking confessions of perpetrators received through a telephone call reporting of the incident. Question 14. Explain the most common scene safety issue associated with terrorist incidents. Response to a scene of a potential terrorist act can involve entry of a hazardous area. Deadly radioactive chemicals or biological agents may have contaminated the atmosphere around the scene. The presence of a fire or collapsed building section can intensify a thermal or mechanical risk. In some terrorist attacks, secondary explosive devices were planted to kill or injure responders. And this is Module 10.